The media debate right now revolves in part about credibility. Steve Bannon, of author Michael Wolff, and of President Trump. Joining us now to analyze the coverage in Houston, Kristen Tate, a columnist for The Hill, whose website is called Libertarian Chick. And here in Washington, Capri Cafaro, Washington Examiner contributor who's teaching at American University and is a former Democratic leader of the Ohio Senate. Kristen, you've worked at Breitbart. You've been friendly with Steve Bannon. It looks like his attacks on President Trump have backfired to the point that his leadership at Breitbart may be jeopardized. Your thoughts?
Look, I can't predict whether or not Breitbart will boot Bannon, but I think Bannon will probably be just fine whether or not he stays at Breitbart. I suspect this is not the last we will see of him. He's a skilled political strategist with a lot of deep ties in the populist wing of the conservative base. So I think he'll be okay. Now, of course, the media would love to see Bannon crash and burn. They have a seething hatred for him. He was perhaps more despised than Donald Trump himself because there was this perception in the media that Bannon was the one controlling the White House narrative behind closed doors. Now, of course, for the moment, the media is kind of treating Bannon like this temporary champion because he allegedly made comments that can be used to make Trump look bad. But I still think the media hates him. They just love it when Republicans fight with each other, and this Bannon-Trump feud is being used as a distraction, I think, to take away attention from Trump's many achievements recently.
Right. You know, look, Steve Bannon played a key role in the campaign and in the White House.
Sure.
Do you agree the media have a seething hatred for him? Because what we're now learning is, he certainly talked to some reporters.
Right. I don't actually think that they have a seething hatred for him at this point. I mean, I think that certainly, as you mentioned, his credibility is in jeopardy. It's interesting. There was an article in the National Review just a few days ago talking about how Steve Bannon is a victim of his own, buying his own hype. And the fact that
That's so unknown in Washington.
It never happens. It never happens. I think that at this point right now, because of the statements that he made to the Fire and Fury book, in addition, frankly, to the fact that he sort of crashed and burned with Roy Moore, I think both of those things, have caused folks like the Mercers, who have, been the major funding behind Breitbart and Steve Bannon, to distance themselves, potentially, take away the funding, and put some pressure on the Breitbart board to toss him.
Again, Bannon telling the website Axios that he regrets his delay in responding to what he says are the inaccurate comments about Donald Trump Jr. But Kristen, Rebecca Mercer, whose billionaire family really has bankrolled many of Bannon's ventures, including Breitbart, put out a statement saying, my family and I haven't communicated with Steve, provided no financial support for his agenda. So that could jeopardize his role as an independent force, both politically and as a media guy.
Yeah, we don't really know the context in which the comments were made. A lot of Michael Wolff's credibility has been called into question, but if I were Steve Bannon, I would come out and just explicitly apologize for the comments. I also think it's best for Trump as well if these two men kind of bury the hatchet and move forward, because ultimately when it comes to the issues that matter most to the American voters, these two men are on the same page. They both want to implement the America First agenda. Voters should not have to choose teams here, and if Trump forces his own supporters to choose teams by being combative with Steve Bannon, he may risk alienating some of his own voters.
I think they
cannot afford to lose any of his support.
Okay, but do you agree that the
base.
media likes Steve Bannon more when he is criticizing President Trump on immigration, on the comments in the book, on the Moore campaign, whatever, then
I think that it does certainly add to the palace intrigue, if you will, and that sells papers, and that gets more subscriptions to the New York Times and fill in the blank. Anytime that there is a little bit of acrimony between two very colorful characters, the President of the United States and Steve Bannon, certainly I think they welcome that.
All right, let me get in this other topic, Kristen. As we learned that the FBI is investigating the Clinton Foundation, President drawing fire for a tweet in which he said that longtime Hillary advisor Huma Abedin should be in jail, says the president, after a number of classified emails were found on the laptop of her estranged husband, Anthony Weiner. The press argument is that a president shouldn't pronounce somebody guilty, especially in a criminal investigation involving his former opponent.
I just find it laughable that the media seems more offended by and interested in Trump's tweets than they do in the actual content of this story, which is the disturbing fact that Huma Abedin forwarded sensitive State Department information, including government passwords to government systems, to her private Yahoo account, and subsequently all Yahoo accounts were hacked.
Right,
she also sent and received private emails using Anthony Weiner's laptop, and now the media wants to sit here and make the big scandal Trump's tweet instead of the
I don't think that's
criminal
the case.
behavior that was allegedly taking place.
Hang on, because we're short on time. Also in that tweet, the president talked about the deep state Justice Department must finally act. The media indictment is, hey, the Justice Department works for you, Mr. President.
Right, but he doesn't have full, unfettered control over the Department of Justice, even though he's certainly said that. I frankly think that the coverage of this tweet has been relatively fair. I've seen a number of articles from every place from the Washington Post to the New York Times to CBS and NBC, and they seem to be able to provide some balance to this story and give some of the concern appropriate
Great
cause.
debate. Wish we had more time. Capri Cafaro, Kristen Tate, good to see you this Sunday.